Now, so I'm going to talk about the next one is a quick whirlwind tour of the Hexagon Power portfolio and each of the products and some key new features, because we have I know today is a lot of focuses on Map Enterprise, but we have a suite of products from Hexagon that we support and have customers across the island who are using. So it's good to give everybody a quick update on what's coming and what has been released. So first off, my favorite, G Media. So we have G Media Desktop. So with the 2020 release, they improved the web feature service and WFST. They now have WFS transactional service as well, so that you can do a better editing through a web feature service. And also something that's been long required, an Excel data server. So anybody who has used G Media before would have known you can bring in CSV, you can bring in column delimited data, but now actually to be able to connect directly to the XLSX file is really useful for bringing in that kind of information. So that makes sharing information easier. Again, in the last couple of releases of G Media, the Spatial modeler has been integrated from Airdas Imagine. The operators are being improved all the time, and there was grid analytics added there recently. The Explorer window now, so you have your feature Explorer, so being able to see what features are in your database, it's been improved. And in the imagery side, there's support for multi-band images. Again, G Media 3D also has the ability now to do threat domes, and there's some new styles in there as well. And you can drag and drop images for images on warehouses. Again, something in a lot of other software people might have been used to wasn't there in G Media. Now you can just drag and drop the image into the workspace and away you go. Geotag photos supported again, becoming pretty much stuff for the course. And we also have support for 4K monitors. Sorry, my mouse just jumped to me there. Okay, so just on the, you can see here with the spatial operators, we now have union and join. Excuse me. We can do summarize related features, aggregation. The spatial operators are there for hydrographic processing, so you can do fill depressions, calculate flow, accumulate flow, and find watersheds. And there's categories commands for the allowing of the spatial modeling results. So the spatial modeler, just for those who maybe aren't aware, it'll get installed on your G Media machine now. So you'll have a separate product. So this is the spatial modeler where you can build these models. Again, anybody who's used to using FME, which I think most people on the call would have experience of. Again, the spatial modeler is very similar. Both started around the same time, so they've both kind of stolen from each other over the years, I think. But now, once you create that model, it can then be outputted into G Media and displayed as a legend, so you can see imagery, so you can do things like change detection or analysis, or even build up more complex analytics. Like G Media has always been very powerful for doing dynamic queries and having the ability to chain queries, but you kind of had to remember what way the queries were ordered, how they called each other, and it became a bit cumbersome. Using something where you can do a GUI and have the spatial model makes that kind of chaining of queries a lot more easier to visualize, and that way you get the strength of the in-memory analysis from G Media, along with the visualization capability of seeing how your model operates inside the spatial modeler. ImageStation, which is part of the solution that we were talking about this morning from LPS. Some of the key features with ImageStation, which is built on top of G Media, being able to drape feature commands, burn vector data in blockwise, tie point, being able to bring in support for support and power and roads and power GPAC, and again the 4K support. So a lot of the functions here you might see were for our colleagues in LPS and what they were doing. But a big release of ImageStation this year is the support for MicroStation Connect. This has also been brought into Pro 600 for the Imagine side of the house. So Bentley MicroStation did change the products and made a major change from version 8 and have moved now towards using MicroStation Connect. So both ImageStation and Pro 600 for Imagine have both been updated by Hexagon to support MicroStation Connect, which is a big push because I know the MicroStation customers are under a lot of pressure to get moved off the old versions of MicroStation over to Connect. So now if you are using ImageStation or Pro 600, you can move over to Connect. Again, with ImageStation 2020, there was a release of an updated digital surface model. So you can create surface models from stereo frame and satellite imagery. Replaces the old ISAE extension, which only supported digital aerial frames, and better coverage for fewer void areas for things like rooftops and trees and water power and power lines. And the semi-global matching is 2 to 3 times faster with better overall results. So really useful for any of our customers who are doing the photogrammetry production. On the AirDAS side, we have, again, a lot of this is what we're seeing from Hexagon and what you're seeing from Marcus is the move towards more sensors, and also then using technology to process this better data and automate the processing of this information. So with Imagine now, we have a digital surface model extractor, which supports all sensor models and all raster models, and can generate the RGB for the encoded point clouds. It can be done both in batch and distributed processing as well, and can be done from Imagine in the GUI or from Spatial Modeler, and is now 5 times faster. So again, for those customers who are taking, again, naturally it's more in the national mapping area or map production area, but if you're flying these areas with your new sensors, being able to generate the digital surface models faster, being able to process data and create more accurate models is really, really useful, and again, Imagine is moving in that direction. And you can see some of the results that we're getting with this kind of DSM extractor. So being able to take the imagery and create the digital surface model and create the imagery out of that, which is pretty cool. And again, the big panacea of what everyone's trying to get to is automatic feature extraction. And hope it's not there 100% yet, but it is something we're all striving to. So we're trying to see if we can get there. Sorry, this mouse is a bit sensitive. And there you can see the draped results of the 3D model. And you can see some nice buildings coming out there as well. So really, really good surface model extraction coming from the Imagine processor. And of course, this can all be batched. Again, Imagine photogrammetry now provides a complete set of tools for creating and managing photogrammetric projects. And it has an interactive tool with some batch capabilities. A common scenario is the complete automation of the process with no interaction. So again, with the Spatial Modeler, you're now even starting to do some photogrammetry processes automatically without having to have human intervention. Again, an important push, because even in today's world with COVID and everything, we can't have people sitting at desktops the whole times. Even stereo systems are becoming more of a challenge because you can't have these in your house. So being able to automate these kind of photogrammetric workflows is really, really important. So you can see now we have all these photogrammetry automation tools inside Imagine Spatial Modeler, being able to take in the blocks, add the imagery, manage the tie points, the adjustments, doing the automatic adjustment from the camera, and then being able to create orthos, mosaics, and point clouds automatically. Again, that just cuts down the manual work and then means that the image processing people can focus on what they actually need to achieve. And it means end-to-end workflows in one project. On the WebGIS side, so on the GMedia Web Map side, we still got customers who are using these products that haven't quite fully moved off Map Enterprise, and WebMap has still some very nice functionality and some good analytics that are easy to use. So with WebMap, the big thing we've seen in the last year's release was WebMap Mobile. So for field editing, so WebMap Mobile is a phone and tablet-based application for accessing and portraying geospatial data. The user can edit, validate, and update the enterprise GIS from the field in real time just need the connection. The updated update on the mobile device is instantly available for the GIS platform using the same organization. If enabled, it can also be used in offline mode, similar to how Map Enterprise works, with a geo package created from the raster, WMS, and vector services. So again, for those WebMap customers who are still on WebMap, if you go to the newer version, you can now get a mobile app capability as well. There's also a mobile publisher for GME WebMap. So the mobile publisher assists in the setup of these apps, and it can address key aspects like user identification and field work. It generates a configuration based on the administrator's selections, and it has a quick start wizard that guides the administrator to create the maps and set up the workplace. Very similar to the web publisher, which creates the publisher app. We've now got similar on the mobile. Again, we have a number of customers who are still using GeoMedia WebMap. If you move to the newer version, this is a very nice tool that you can roll out very, very easily and build on top of your existing WebMap sites. On the provider side, we've seen now on the Apollo, so the catalog. So Apollo is Hexagon's cataloging and data management platform. This year has seen a huge change in the GUI in how you actually access this information. Again, they've integrated Lucid RIA into the GUI to make it a very rich interface and make the user experience of how you search and check for your imagery and data so much easier to do, and of course being able to view both 3D and 2D data. So anybody who might have used the older version of Apollo, it had an old web publisher interface. It was honestly starting to show its age. So the integration with Fusion RIA has really brought the interface of Apollo up to the modern standards and provided a GUI that, sales and marketing or any users or public users can use and feel comfortable using. With this as well, again, Apollo has had the ability to support point cloud data management for a while, but again, this now is also integrated with Lucid so that it can actually crawl and register imagery from a Lucid tile service and bring that into catalog as well. So again, being able to catalog and crawl all this 3D data automatically and then make it available inside the new GUI, which you can see on the screen now. So in the Catalog Explorer, being able to see this information and then being able to visualize the data, do a search, so you can see the nice new search tool here as well, and being able to see the imagery, both 2D and 3D, that's in your system. So again, as we know with all these new sensors, we are driving more and more data sets, bringing more and more information into our software, and some of this data is expensively captured. So providing a catalog to store the information, to know who captured it, when it was captured, what it was captured, and where, is really, really important so that you get full value for your investment in the data. And that's where Apollo is an excellent solution for that, being able to see that kind of information in the browser and store your data. And of course, Apollo has compression capabilities, which allows you to store the data more cost effectively on your server and then serve it up for clip, zip and ship so that people can download and use in how they want to see that data. So you can see here how the GUI allows the person to add the imagery to the map, and then they can see both 2D and 3D and data coming in there inside their catalog browser, which is again really, really, really powerful and very useful if you're an agency who's generating 3D data, to have the capability to store this information, to visualize it and share it around your organization is really important for the money you've spent on the capturing of that data. As I mentioned, we also have Hexagon own the patent for ECW compression. So again, there's been some updates in that last year, improvements in both ECW and JPEG 2000 support, and again, just improving the compression sizes and improving the speed of compression, which again, because of all this growth in data, is becoming more and more important, because I think the data growths are definitely outstripping savings in hardware and in disk space and things like this. So the geocompressor can additionally compress ECW and resample the information. So with update 2, the optimizations ECW are done, were well received, and update 3, they've improved the resampling again. So again, just making this compression work even more better. And Marcus touched on this solution earlier on in his presentation. So just to recap, with Map Enterprise, we now have this smart monitoring platform. So the ability to do smart monitoring, so being able to, across all these areas, taking in the sensor information from all areas. And with that system also now, we're also seeing things like the monitoring and management of e-scooters. So being able to look to the scale of the e-scooter boom. And I just seen last night, funnily enough, that there's going to be legislation brought out into Dublin to handle e-scooters in Dublin, because they were at the minute in a bit of a grey area as to, you know, are you insured? Do you need a license? Can you have them? And we don't have, like I was in Tel Aviv last year, and you know, you just have your token on your phone, and you can walk up to a little spot here and just grab a scooter, and like same way as you do with the Dublin bikes, and then get from one part of the city to the other, and you don't have to be cycling or whatever. So they work really well in cities. I'm not sure how they'll work in Dublin, but there is definitely legislation, and with the monitoring system now, the Hexagon platform can actually monitor where the scooters are, who are using them, I mean, you know, where are they available, you know, what parts of the city are they free. And again, this is a really big area for councils and for government agencies to be looking at how to enable this, how to make sure that the scooters are being used properly, are helping drive a smart city and drive the ability to show how things are. So you can see there'll be parking issues with the scooters where people just dump them, don't put them in the right spot, throw them in a leaves or whatever. Being able to track that, being able to georeference and go, well, that scooter's in the wrong location, so we need to send somebody to go get it, to rescue it or to fix it or whatever is needed. So with the smart monitoring ecosystem, they can have a mobile app which tells you where the devices are. You can have a real-time BI like Marcus was showing to show us, you know, how many vehicles have been, how many scooters are being used, where they're being used, and then, of course, historical level to start tracking things like, well, which ones are damaged, where is the high intensity use, do we have enough scooters in the right place, do we need to, at the end of the day, move a heap of scooters from the Docklands up to Christchurch so that they're in the right location for the next morning, you know, all these kind of things that you can actually do with Map Enterprise. So again, I think also what I like to call out with this smart monitoring system is it's not actually reinventing the wheel when it comes to Map Enterprise. This is the kind of stuff you can build. You're not developing a heap of range of solutions, but the capabilities that Marcus has been showing this morning can be applied for any of these kind of uses, and is because it's a one-stop shop, because you have the ability to capture, edit, update, view, analyze data all in one platform. It really is the perfect platform for that.
It's also worth mentioning, Ciaran, they can be applied to anything. I know we spoke about e-scooters there, but when you think about any type of asset, so whether that's council, know they have the mobile bin trucks. So again, that could be tracking where they are. It could be, again, libraries, again, in rural councils would have mobile libraries. Again, where are they? Where are the assets? Where are they kind of driving around? And then not just viewing them internally to see where they are, or gridding trucks to see where they are internally, but also then on the other end of sharing that information with the public, or even the likes of buoys, lighthouses, etc. Again, just think of some of the audience there again, where you could have all these assets that are there. You can click on them, have an actual image of what type of asset it is, whether it's a vehicle or whatever it may be, and then obviously to have some information and just make sure that coverage area is there as well. So some really, really good points.
Oh, definitely. We are flying this morning. Usually in these sessions we are way behind time.
There's not many questions this time around.
Yeah, I think it's the difference between when you're face to face and when you're digitally. Now you do get prizes for questions, people. So you know, time to get some questions in. But what you can see this morning, what we've shown is with Map Enterprise, we have a very mature platform now that's over the last few years that can take on a number of different areas. But the idea of the monitoring, and we'll talk about that later on. So there's predictive analytics using analytics into workflows to react, to monitor, and to act is really where people are pushing towards now, and what these platforms are for.
If anybody has any questions, please pop them in. We don't always get to have Marcus on a call where we can grill him. So please, if you do have any questions, please pop them in. It would be great. And yeah, again, just reiterating what Ciaran's saying there as well. I guess we're just giving one or two examples, but I suppose showing the breadth of, I'm sure everybody is there thinking about, oh, well, I could apply this to a particular workflow in your own organization. So again, just knowing that you have those tools there is amazing, whether it's 3D, and I think 3D always looks amazing, but sometimes getting the data in Ireland is quite difficult. But again, applying it to just the generic 2D is just as good, I think, at times.
Well, again, I think with that, some of that 3D, you can, like, I think there is more and more data coming, but I think, Marcus, can you extrude heights? So if you have a 2.5D, so if you know the height of a building or something, can Map Enterprise do that kind of visualization?
Yes, we can do that. I'm just opening up an application on my side to show it.
Okay, good. Yeah, because that's the other option. Some of the OSI, the geotrajectory data, and some of the other building data, they have a height value which isn't 100. It's flat height, so it assumes the building is one height, but gives you it's good from an analytic point of view. And I know there's a lot more 3D data. I know Blue Skies have done a lot of capture last year during the good weather, and I know ISAE are coming with and LPS in the north are coming with their 3D data in the future, and there's a lot more of it coming. And of course, mobile sensors are becoming more and more prevalent.
And again, even just planning applications that come in, again, you could have a process with FME that kind of takes that height information and then again, we can feed it into Map Enterprise for the automatic to extrude.
Marcus will bring up the demo. There's still no questions. Everyone does think it's perfect.
That's what it is. I'll let Marcus show this, and then we can always finish that.
In a second.
Okay, no problem. And for anybody who missed any of this morning, or if your colleagues, I think we got a few emails coming in saying people were going to come later on or something. We will be putting these videos online at a later stage as well, so people will be able to see them. Sorry, Marcus, go ahead.
So that's an example of what you have asked me before. So we only had the footprints of the buildings and information about the building heights, and we have used the same dashboard technology in the background just to extrude the buildings, and I can now easily navigate around in the city. And for example, here talking, I'm sorry, it's in German, the kind of waste management, the energy consumption of the building, the number of people living there, and doing a thematic map based on the different themes. So let's say we are switching it now to the energy flavor of it. We see that most of them are green in this data set, which is not correct. Unfortunately, they just changed it. But let's take a look on the number of inhabitants of a building, and now have all of these extruded 3D buildings with the different kind of thematic visualization.
That looks very good, and that was all extruded from a 2D footprint, basically.
Yes, exactly.
A question here from Michael. Can the building objects be queried for their attributes via a click action or hover? I think I know the answer, but Marcus, will let you answer.
Yes, we can. I have not configured here, but you can easily just click on an item. As I said, there's no configuration at the moment here, and just see the information on this one. In this case, it was configured that way. As soon as I click on one building, we are filtering it down to the thematic entry. So you can see that only now the same buildings with the same number of inhabitants will be highlighted. But you can also hide, for example, toolkit information.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, oh, that's good. Yeah, so and again on the so in the BI we can have tooltips if they're turned on, and yeah, we can have an action as well.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Or a workflow, like Marcus showed in 2021 now, so there could be a workflow there. So again, if you clicked on the building, say it's due for an inspection, for example, again, you click on set that it's due for an inspection, assign it to somebody inside the organization, and then obviously they'll get it up on their feed for their kind of daily work tasks. So absolutely, that kind of, that whole connected, as Ciaran's talking about, that kind of act, evaluate, or sorry, analyze, evaluate, and then act. So again, it's that kind of closed loop every single time. So
yeah.
Well, we can finish up and give people a longer break if
yeah, it's only come to half anyway, so that's, yeah, we our plan would be to be going back at 11 o'clock for the second session, so people can get their coffee and do come back.
I think they need coffee. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. The Marcus, on any enhancements coming, I know you want to tell me, but the mobile is that with the mobile app, the workflows, and so just for everybody, that the mobile app is offline and online, and it can also then, in those kind of smart city processes, can be fully integrated as well.
Yes, of course. Out of the box, my WordPress has this mobile application with it, and it's like also for the workflows on the desktop environment or browser environment. We have our mobile workflows, which are natively integrated. There are some smaller enhancements. This time we really focused on the 3D visualization in the browser environment and integration of the different data sources, and to make it much more easier. There's some major items upcoming for the next release, so 2022. But as already mentioned, I'm not going to share the details at this point.
And
if we had a plenty Guinness of them last night, we'd know.
Marcus, just on the sensor integration, just again, I know some of our customers will be asking, what level of product do we need? Is that the essential version? Do you need the Fusion piece? Is it professional? If we're doing that IoT.
The sensor integration is done via this exact integration platform, which are not part of the native enterprise environment. But we will come back to you how this is structured from a commercial perspective.
Okay. And again, one of the things we're showing later on, so yeah, Xalt is one option, but we've also, we've integrated heavily ourselves here in Ireland, FME with Map Enterprise for that sensor level integration and on the fly integration. So that's, yeah, when we need to pull data from various sources. But with Map Enterprise Professional, it comes with Fusion now, which also has supports an awful lot of formats and data now as well, doesn't it? So at the professional level.
Yes, the problem is we figured out that a lot of the different sensor manufacturers are using their own proprietary formats. So it's always better having a configure item like Xalt integration or FME in doing the direct configuration to understand the stream of the content, what the sensor is providing to you.
Okay. Wait, one last call for questions, and if not, we'll stop the broadcast. But just before we do, again, Marcus, we'd like to thank you for making time, as you always do, for these events and for giving us a slight sneak peek. We do feel that we should have been more now.
Very slight now. I agree with that, Ciaran. That was probably a little bit too slight now, but we get it. We're looking forward to March, Marcus.
There's another question. Can the BI app be shared with users, but at the same time restrict to show only the data buildings relative to them? So that's kind of row level security, I think, Marcus.
So not from the configuration perspective out of the box, but yes, it's possible. We have done this for the census environment, where, for example, a mayor of small municipality is only able to see their municipality, but if you're going up on a government level, they can see more. But that's always a little bit, let's say, customization effort. Not big, but as it really depends on the requirement of the customer in this environment or this functionality.
Yeah, we some of the projects we're working on this year, we've integrated with the Active Directory side of things. So yeah, it's a bit of customization, but we look at the data is filtered based on the Active Directory role or the user. And yeah, we can go, okay, query that level and pull the data. But yeah, it's not drag and drop. It's a bit of SQL. But it's one of the cool things in Map Studio, how extensible it is. And I'll talk about this later on, how easy it is to integrate SQL other scriptings to really put some advanced functionality without having to do, you know, I think there's a difference between programming and SQL. You know, I think, you know, programming is another level of customization, while with SQL it's very extendable, and we've had a couple of major projects which we can't talk about yet, but we will be, we've done a lot of work in that area, and it's really clever how much you can do if you have a good knowledge of SQL with Map Enterprise. You know, you can really extend it. Yeah, no, we found that.
And I think that's the real beauty of Map Enterprise. You have this standard function in Map Enterprise, then you can do customization by configuration.
Yeah.
In the end, there's also an API level if you really want to do some hardcore customization, let's call it that way. You have all the possibilities within one platform, and you do not have to say, okay, but I can't do it for the reason I have no access to the API or something like that. Yeah. So if somebody's asking me, can you do it with Map Enterprise? I tend to say, yes, I can. It's always a question on which level.
Yeah, well, I always say yes anyway, Marcus, when people ask me, can we do anything? But yeah, I get in trouble for that, you know. I've been told before that I shouldn't be saying yes. Everything's possible. Okay, I think we have all our questions, so I think we let everybody take their coffee break. We'll get going at 11 o'clock sharp. I actually do think that the second session is a lot more content. We probably should have brought one session forward. Again, thanks Marcus for everything he's done today and for everything. And yeah, please come back, and remember we have the quizzes. Oh yeah, go to the boot area, talk to the guys in the boot, download the documents, go to the Hexagon boot. Our colleague Andy Garrett, who's there, Andy's also good crack. It was good to have a chat to. He's the partner manager for UK and Ireland. He's in the Hexagon booth. Go talk to Andy, say hello, have a look at the documents, go into the chat, and you never know, you might win yourself a Echo Dot or a Fitbit. And just to be sure, IMGS staff, it is external people only. No Hexagon or IMGS winners.
You know who you are. You know.
Yeah. and misspelling your name by one letter doesn't fool anybody. No, it is definitely for the customers. So, okay, thanks everybody, and we'll see you at 11 a.m. Thank you.
See you
Bye-bye.
shortly. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.